Alrighty, welcome everyone to another episode of Big Brain MMA podcast, episode 7. So I'll be doing a PFL full card breakdown. Just me, I'll make it nice and quick. Busy week this week. I'm looking to do UFC and KSW breakdowns. Getting a little bit burnt out. Hopefully, in a day or so, I'm not completely over taping fights, but yeah, I've done this whole card, and yeah, I'll get straight into it. First fight, Bruno Miranda, Nate Jennerman. Jennerman kind of reminds me of a poor man's Jackson, the Leech. He's just a pressure fighter. Comes forward. He's not really athletic. He has a 1-2. He can stun some fighters with his 1-2, but he doesn't have too much power. He's got a nice guillotine. He keeps dropping down for, but he's just very sloppy. He initiates grappling, but then he ends up on bottom and on his back, and he gets gassed, and he's been knocked out a few times as well. I think Miranda, I look to fade Miranda in his PFL Challenger Series debut and against Frey. And Frey had his back in the first, but he got out. He landed some bombs. He actually looked much better than his regional Road FC tape. Most of his tape is on Road FC against really low level Asian fighters. I was like, I don't know how good this guy is. Surely at these odds, Frey has some value. He's going to keep coming and engage takedowns. But yeah, Miranda looked much better than I expected. He showed some improvement. He's really good off his back when he does get taken down, or he drops down for a guillotine. He's got really good butterflies. He was calm when he had his back taken. I just think he's the sharper, cleaner striker. Jennerman's going to be plodding into the pocket, eating bombs. I've seen him knocked out and hurt before. So it's a pass fight for me. I thought there might be some value there, but yeah, can't hit Miranda at these odds, and can't hit Jennerman either, unfortunately. All right, Hamlet versus Silveira. Now, I see some opinions on this fight. A lot of people are saying this is a dog or pass. Personally, I really wanted to hit Silveira, just because Hamlet he gives me flaky vibes. He's gassy. I get the feeling that he's a bit of a quitter as well. I know he's been submitted by Junior and Hendricks, but I've also seen him finish by Bill Kaskis after he got tired. He's a bit one-dimensional. He does have some power, but if you can't get the wrestling going, things start to fall apart pretty quickly. The only problem is there's absolutely no footage of Silveira defending takedowns. I tried to watch pretty much his entire career, and I can't find him. Maybe for a few seconds defends a takedown from a low-level guy in LFA, and then he reverses it and gets his own takedowns. Long story short, I think Silveira has the jiu-jitsu advantage. The striking advantage is pretty technical. He's got some nice some counters. He's a southpaw. He's got some tricky head kicks. He's got a couple of head kick KOs. But he used to be a middleweight. I think he might be a bit undersized here. He used to be a middleweight. And Hamlet, ever since Hamlet's gone to PFL, he's looking extra juicy. He's definitely on the sauce. I think he's going to have the physicality advantage. I think Silveira might struggle to take him down early. Hamlet might even get his own takedowns, but that's the problem. There's no footage. I'm not sure. I don't know. I wanted to take Silveira, and then I thought, nah, I'm forcing the bet here. Then I thought, the longer this goes, Silveira has the better cardio. He's relentless with his takedowns, even though they're not amazing. Yeah, he keeps pushing it, and he does get him. The more he goes for him, that last Challenger fight was a bit of a red flag. He was getting tagged up by that bun, but eventually he got the rear naked choke. And I feel if he just keeps pushing it, Hamlet has 2 rear naked chokes, losses in his last 2. I mean, Hendricks was the other one, and he kind of just Homer Simpsoned him. Hendricks made a living of getting beaten up and then getting the rear naked choke. So it's a tough fight to get a read on. I've kind of gone from a Silveira play to probably a dog or pass now. Probably just going to be a pass for me because I don't trust Hamlet and I don't have a live bet option. So I feel like he could be winning and then he might give up his neck late in the third to Silveira. But yeah, it should be a good fight. Kind of excited to see how Silveira is going to look. All right, this one here is it's got me a little bit intrigued. I went deep into Wilkinson's career to try find his footage after the UFC because I really don't rate Souto, and I thought, I'd pick him. He's going to be quite good value. Souto is a welterweight moving up, and moving up 2 weight classes, and he's just a very underwhelming fighter. And obviously, I still had questions about Wilkinson. All finishes in the first or second round, and gassed in both of his UFC fights. So how's he going to look? If he gets extended. But I just thought, Souto is not someone that's going to punish him. He's a grappler and he's a decision machine, but he just doesn't have the physicality. Like Wilkinson was taller, bigger. He looks more filled out at 205. He's got good power. His stand up has improved. He's run away, had some kickboxing fights, boxing fights. He still has good takedowns against the cage. But I still have those questions against Pesta. Pesta used to be a heavyweight, and now he's dropping down. And yeah, he got sparked by Omari, but there was a big athleticism difference there, and he's a bit hittable. Pesta seems like he's scared to be hit, and I mean I've seen him wave off a fight because I'm pretty sure his jaw was broken, and just the way he reacts, and his head's always there to be hit. And we've seen Omari throw the same overhand 3 times in a row and spark him. I think there could be a bit of obviously Wilkinson's best round is going to be the first round, but if this gets extended, Pesta's really good. The longer the fight goes, Pesta works his way into it. He's got a very on the outside striking style, just leg kick, jab, 1-2, and then if you can time a reactive double leg, he does all his work on top. He's really good on top. So all his finishes are by submission or by ground and pound on top. Obviously, he uses his weight. Wilkinson, I've seen him get taken out by Dylan Andrews in one of his fights before PFL. Dylan Andrews is like a 40-year-old Kiwi that used to be in the UFC years ago and a middleweight. And he was getting pieced up by Wilkinson, and he just caught a leg kick and took Wilkinson down easy. And Wilkinson obviously submitted him with a guillotine. But those are the things that I want to see. If he's going for those things, ends up on bottom of Pesta, and he starts to gas out, doesn't put Pesta out early, and the fight gets extended, and then he ends up on the bottom in round 3 against Pesta. Yeah, again, I don't have live bet for this fight, but it's a big dog or pass for me. I wouldn't even play the unders. I don't even think Wilkinson is that live to finish Pesta here. I think this is a massive overreaction to what Omari did to Victor, and everyone was playing Victor over Omari because they thought he was going to gas. And now because he got sparked in the first, he's just a massive underdog to someone that I think is worse than Omari and less proven. So big dog or pass for me. I would love to have a live bet on this fight, but obviously in Australia I don't have that, just for the main card. So if it keeps getting crazy, everyone seems to be putting him in parlays. I'll probably have a sprinkle on Victor, and hope for the best. It's going to be nerve-wracking, but it is what it is. All right, catch a bit of a breath. Next fight is an easy pass for me. Sordi is $1.25 favorite. I mean, he's been an absolute letdown ever since he won the series, the $1 million. He's got a killer 1-2, good power, carries it late, but he's just gassy, and you never know what you're gonna get with him. He's going to rough decisions with Kamosi, and Spong is giving him a challenge. He's a chinny fighter, and then he gives Carlos Jr. the best fight he's had, the toughest fight. And then after that, he gets finished by Hendricks. So it was just inconsistent. And now I'm hearing rumors that he might have a torn ACL. And I see on the interviews he's saying he wants a run-round fight, which, to be honest, it kind of confirms it for me. Like, why does he want a run-round fight? He wants to get in and out. He wants to get a knockout. But yeah, it's just, I don't know if I can play Monte. Like, the guy is a bit of a can himself. I hammered the under 1.5 against Carlos Jr., but he kind of stunned Carlos there. So maybe he can stun Sordi as well, who he does have a good chin, but you never know. I think the under could be a good spot here as well, but obviously I'm not going to have it for prelims. But yeah, pass fight. It's, you can't hit Sordi at this line, especially with some red flags. All right. Natan Shulte and Marcin V Held II. I had to tape this fight twice just to get a bit of a read on Held. I wanted to see if he's changed from his UFC tenure. It relatively seems the same fighter. I think he had a really good fight against Natan. I thought that was weird how he performed. He kind of overperformed in that spot, and I think Natan underperformed. That's probably why the line is where it's at. You know, there's Held is kind of he always looks gassy, he always looks hittable, and he always gets dropped. And then somehow in that fight, he went to an absolute war with Natan for 3 rounds and didn't get dropped once. And even though it was a close fight, all judges gave him a unanimous. So I thought that was a bit of an outlier. And Natan didn't look to grapple. After that, Marcin fought against OAM and then got dropped in the first and just got completely shut down. So went back to his old ways. He even got knocked out against Diego Brandao in ACA or ACB. That says it was a decision win for him, but that was a KO loss. He got dropped, his eyes rolled back, and the ref jumped in and grabbed Brandao with both his hands around the hips, literally pulled him off him, and then said, keep fighting. And then but Brandao was pissed, kept fighting, won the round, stayed on top, and then he just absolutely gassed and lost round 2 and 3. So that was a bit rough. I felt sorry for the guy. You know, he should be around 1 KO, but you know, Held's been dropped by what's his name, the German dude, Nasrat as well, by a straight left. He won that fight as well with takedowns. He attempted one takedown on Shulte in their first fight. Shulte stuffed it, got straight back up instantly. But he proceeded to just not throw anything in the first round and just got tagged. Held had insane volume somehow and was just piecing him up. And then round 2 was a bit better, and round 3 he definitely won. But yeah, he was the better man on that day. But after that, you see Shulte actively grappling against Martinez and trying to go for takedowns against OAM. So I think there's potential that he's going to grapple here more against Held. But, you know, 9 out of 10 times he's just coming forward with the high guard, looking to brawl. And that's why his fights are so close. You know, he's just no defense. And he's eating all the shots. And the judges have no choice but to count it, even though he's blocking him. So I don't know if I can hit his favorite line. He just can't help but be in close fights, even when he's like getting a lot of grapple time against Martinez, etc. I can't hit Held because I don't think he's going to look as good as that in the rematch. I think this is just going to look like the OAM fight again, you know. Let's say Held has a good round 1, and then he's going to slow down. Schulte's going to have a good round 2, and he wins round 3 at a pretty high clip. But I reckon there's a chance Shulte drops him in round 1 as well, and just starts to pick it up as he goes on. I think he might grapple more. We could see, whenever Held starts to lose, he starts dropping down for heel hooks. I think Shulte should be fine. I mean, Held doesn't really heel hook anyone with a high grappling pedigree. So, yeah, another pass fight for me, unfortunately, but maybe Held by decision. Should be plus money, you know, less exposure and a bit better odds. But yeah, unfortunately, this card is kind of a lot of passes at the moment. Speaking of which, Omari, Theodoros Aquistolis. I mean, I didn't even bother taping this fight. I mean, I just watched Theo's last fight when I taped him against Hamlet But yeah, he's an explosive karate guy. Blitzes in. He's got KO power. Omari's got a brick for a head, but he's also gassy. He's got a weakness in takedowns. Omari's going to be able to exploit that early. But yeah, the guy's not trustworthy. He was massive favorite against Jordan Young. Rest in peace, Jordan Young. But he just definitely can't trust Omari at these odds, and I can't play Theodoros either because I feel like he needs a knockout, and Omari's got a brick for a head. So another pass, and then followed by another pass again, which is Jeremy Stephens against Price. Price is so bad, man. They've set Pettis up with him just to get an easy win. I mean, when's the last time Pettis finished someone? He just keeps coming forward and he clinches. His best chance is just to clinch and just to keep coming forward, eating bombs, and I don't even know what he's good at. I mean, he has so many holes. He gets dropped. He gets taken down. He gets put in bad spots. Yeah, I mean, Jeremy Stephens, I know he lost against Collard and he looked like he was getting dominated for most of that fight, but in the end, it ended up being a close fight because he was in there till the end and he was landing some bombs in Collard. I think he's going to put Price out cold. Maybe the under's a good spot, but I don't think Stephens is that washed that he's going to get grappled by Price. What's going on, MJ? Thanks for the comment. I like to think I've got a big brain, but it's more tongue-in-cheek. All right, what do we got next? All right, finally got to play. So Rausch Manfio OAM. Rausch, I finally cashed on Rausch as a dog in his last fight, and it wasn't even a pre-bet money line because I thought Don Marge was one of his worst stylistic matchups for him. Don Marge is a very, very smart technical kickboxer that stays safe, fights long, and I missed his early line, so I didn't play him either. He became quite a bit of a decent fave, so I thought it was going to be a close fight, so I passed. But I ended up hitting Manfio as a bet at $9 odds after round 2. I thought it could have been 1-1, and I knew he was going to pick it up. And then he ended up getting a KO. So won about $900 from 100, which was a bit lucky because he was down 2 rounds to nil. But the man just knows how to win, and he's consistently the underdog, and he just keeps winning, and the bookies just keep underestimating him. Now I think OAM is a much better matchup for him than Madge and some of the other fighters. Like Collard was a tough matchup, high volume boxer. OAM is not a high volume fighter. He's going to skirt on the outside. He's going to look to pot shot him. He doesn't have the power to knock him out or hurt him, and that's Manfio's game. It's going to be two guys pot shotting each other, and it's going to be who hits harder, and it's going to be the typical Manfio split decision or maybe unanimous. I can see Manfio dropping him. As soon as the problem with Manfio, the reason no one fights and everyone fights low volume against him is because he just waits there. He's like old school Beetle. Reminds me of him, with how jacked he is and how hard he hits. He just waits for you. As soon as you jump in the pocket with him, he throws some bombs. Right? He's very stiff. His head's there to be hit, but he's got a killer chin. You can't hurt him. So when you go in there to crack him, he's just countering you with much bigger shots, and he's hurting you to the body. He's hurting you with hooks. So everyone's, no one wants to commit. So they're just like, all right, we'll kick him from the outside. We'll win the decision. But he's really good with his own, calf kicks and teep kicks. So he can fight from the outside too. And then it just ends up being a low output affair. And second someone, gets carried away, they get hit with a big shot, and he steals rounds like that. He's got his flaws, but he's very hard to deal with. And he's hurt Pettis, he's hurt Collard. He knocked out Don Madge, which is very impressive. So it's one mistake with this guy, and you're going to pay. And I thought Loic was going to be a bad matchup for him. Pushes the pace, grappler, good chin, throws bombs in the pocket. He's not scared. and they just pay the price. Manfio just chewed him up in the pocket. You know, if you think you can go to war with Manfio, it's just the power difference was too different. And he's good at getting up. He's not easy to take down. You know, OAM has decent wrestling, but he's more of a grinder. I just see a close striking battle from the outside. Both guys are going to stay on the outside. OAM has a good body kick. You know, he might steal rounds like that, but the closest round, the clearest rounds the judges have had for someone against Manfio so far was Madge, because he just kept kicking and he had a lot of volume and he just kept throwing 1-2s and kicks and he never stopped. He was very active, a lot more active than some of the other fighters, and he didn't get hit. Whereas everyone else that was active, they got counted. So I think it's just going to be maybe OAM gets round 1 and then round 2 is close, and then round 3 OAM maybe slows down from grappling and gets cracked a couple of times. But at these odds, you know, maybe give OAM slight favorite, because I mean, everyone can be a favorite against Manfio due to his lack of output, etc., but not this much of a favorite, considering it's going to be another close fight, and OAM is most likely just going to get a decision if he does win. So I've got to play on Manfio here. I mean, the odds are just getting even better, so I can still decide whether I'm going to do half a unit or a full unit. But I think Manfio's fought and beaten a lot of better guys in OAM on this run, and I'm just going to jump. I only jumped on the train recently, but if he's going to be a dog, I'm just going to keep betting on him. So I've got some money on Roche. All right, another easy pass fight here. Bruce Souto has no chance whatsoever. Like I was saying before, he's a welterweight. He's moved up 2 weight classes. He's more of a, even though he's a grappler, he's more of a grinder. He's got no finishing potential upside whatsoever. I tried to fade him against Davis on short notice, and Davis, I didn't have much hope, but he had him in the guillotine and was piecing him up, and I was like, man, this guy's so bad, I might even win this bet. But then he ends up getting a mean flying knee, which that's a meme. I know some people use meme when they lose and they're upset, but I mean, look through his record. This guy, he can't get a knockout unless it's something accidental like that. He's had a fight against Christian Torres on LFA, and he just went to war with him. You know, he had his back, couldn't finish him. He got tired. Torres reversed him, got on top. I mean, he's fighting an ex-light heavyweight, Carlos Jr. That's massive size advantage. The only play I might have here is the under, but it's probably going to be $1.50 minus 200. You know, do I want to play that juice? I think it's completely falls down on Junior whether it goes under or not. I mean, he can be safe. He's got a nice jab 1-2. He hurt his last opponent before finishing him. Depends on how aggressive he wants to be, or if he just wants to play with his striking. But Souto goes for takedowns as well. He can easily get guillotined. Even though he's a jiu-jitsu fighter, he's not unsubmittable. So, yeah, Junior will run through him. No dramas whatsoever. All right, final fight, and at least this one is kind of intriguing, and it's got some potential for a play as well. Collard versus Martinez. Let me just have a sip of my little coffee before I finish it off. All right, good fight, this one. I think we're seeing some recency bias here, obviously due to Collard's excellent performance versus Stevens. But yeah, it's probably wide in my opinion, quite a bit wide. He does have the boxing advantage. I mean, he has a boxing advantage over a lot of fighters, but I mean, he's had a boxing advantage over Jalton Luderbach, and he had a boxing advantage over, you can say, over Manfio, at least the volume output, and he either lost or went to split decision. So yeah, I mean, he's going to have the boxing advantage against Martinez, but Martinez can crack. You know, in Brave, he had a good 1-2. When he actually sits down and his punches 1-2, put the guy out cold. He's got some good head kicks. But the thing with Martinez here, if he wants to win this fight, he's got to grapple. And I mean, he's grappled in his last fight and against Stevie Ray and got a clear decision win. Now he even grapples when he shouldn't be grappling. Like he's actively grappling Loic and Nathan Shulte, who they're like insane grapplers, and he can't help but go for takedowns against him. And he actually gets takedowns, and he's getting deep guillotines on him. And Loic, he beat Loic just from, even though he was constantly getting taken out, just he beat him from out scrambling him and putting him in submission attempts, which obviously judges these days they care more about damage and tight submissions than control time. But if he actively goes for that aspect, which I think he will, this Collard's not trustworthy. I know that's why he was a pick him against Stevens, right? Because he's not trustworthy against Gelton. Gelton just kept going for takedowns, but he's got decent wrestling, but he has no volume. He has no control. He's a wet blanket. He just sits on top and he goes for the das, which is his favorite move, and he almost got it on Collard, but Collard was very, very calm under pressure and he got out. But once he starts thinking about that takedown, and Martinez doesn't wait for the right option, for the right time. Sorry, he just shoots. He stays on the outside with his karate stance, throws a 1-2, and he will just dive. He will just keep diving for takedowns. I mean, he did get dropped by Stevie Ray, so there's potential there that Collard can absolutely piece him up and piece him up to the body as well, especially with his style. But he seems durable. Seems durable. No one's finished him in PFL so far, and Stevie Ray was the closest to doing it, but he recovered well and still got a takedown that round. So I think, I think we could see a very back and forth, volatile, scrambly fight here. I see no reason why Martinez won't actively grapple here. He's done it in every single fight. He went to split decision with Shulte as well, and when you give Clay a crazy fight like this, he's gonna invite it. He loves brawls. He might stand up. He might sprawl once or twice. He might get his own takedowns. Actually, he goes for his own takedowns. Stevens took him down. But yeah, I just see a very volatile fight. And Martinez is not the easiest to get a read on just because he's so unpredictable and wild. But after, finally getting a step down against someone like Stevie Ray, you kind of see, okay, he's got grappling in his arsenal that he can use. Stevie Ray is not amazing, but how many people have grappled him like that in the UFC, He's got a good grappling pedigree. He submitted Paddy in a grappling fight, in a grappling tournament outside of MMA. So, I think it's just the odds are a bit wide on this unless Collard comes out and sparks him. I mean, Martinez doesn't like pressure, likes to stay on the outside, but every time Collard pressures him, he's either going to hit a 1-2 or he's going to dive on the legs. So yeah, it's a very volatile fight. It's a dog or pass for me. I think we're going to have some good live betting opportunities here, like the Stevens fight. But yeah, I don't know if it's going to get any wider. It did get quite wide. I was about to hit it, and then money came back in on Martinez. So it seems as if people are keeping an eye out and they want to play him as well, not just me. So I'll keep an eye on it. Other than Roche, Manfio, and potentially Pesta, I definitely think this main event could be a play. And yeah, live bet. Keep an eye out for live bet. It could be good. So yeah, that's about it. Nice and quick. Not even 30 minutes. Should be doing a UFC breakdown tomorrow. It will either be with Fimble or not. We'll have a chat. And then after it will be a full card breakdown. And then after that, probably same day or day after. I know some people are in different time zones. I will be smashing out a KSW one, but KSW very hard to tape, hard to find tape, and it just takes about half an hour just to arrange all my tabs and on random tubes and stuff, Chinese tubes. Stevens inside the distance is Pick'em apparently. Mr. Tattoo and Dreams, the man, the myth, the legend. Seems good if we can get odds. We will get odds because Bet365 is pretty good at giving us main card odds. So if that's accurate, I'll be smashing that. I know this Miles is durable, but I've seen him I haven't retaped again because his tape is so horrendous. But Musa, I know Musa dropped him back on the old English regionals. That's if it's anywhere that good, I'm smashing Stevens. Hardest hitter as they say. Thanks for that, mate. 30 minutes to arrange tabs. MJ doesn't understand. When you're taping fights, mate, you find the fight, you put it on that tab, then you open another tab, find his next fight. And if you got tape index, they're already arranged for you for UFC, but KSW, Polish promotion, you don't have that. So I have to search up for the fights myself on YouTube, some random Chinese tubes, put it in one tab, find the next fight, check what fight in order that is, put it in that tab, and then I start watching the fights. It takes me half an hour just to organize it, so it's a bit of a pain, not very, it's very time consuming. I still got a couple of UFC fights to tape, so that's obviously my priority. Always get the best reads on UFC and always get the most fights and the best props. All right, well, I'm going to leave it at that. We've started doing our logos. We started making some banners. So the good news is the podcast is going to start looking a bit better. Hopefully start sounding a bit better every week as well. But yeah, other than that, I'll leave it at that. Thanks to the comments today. It's nice to have a little interaction. But yeah, have a good one. We'll chat soon.